You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, national insurance columnist and financial color commentator. And all this week on The Biz, we're talking about Index Universal Life with the Total Sales Solution with Eric Palmer.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant, and we're broadcasting to a nationwide audience of financial advisors right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And today, day two with Eric Palmer, we're talking about with Eric. And if you missed yesterday's show, I really recommend go out to that show first, watch it, because it kind of will help you in our building block thinking. We have developed at Brokers Alliance, and remember, this is very, very odd for Business Insurance Zone. We're much more objective. We really don't talk about ourselves that much.
Right.
But we've come up with something because of a deep need that you saw. We've all discovered it. We've seen it. We need a sales track to run on. We need media for this. And when you hear everything we're going to be talking about this weekend, this is probably the most comprehensive sales solution. If you're anal retentive and analytic, this is going to be huge. The calculators that we've developed are monstrous. If you're looking for major media exposure and lead generation, wow, this is huge. Talk about something.
Well, I think one of the things we noticed that was missing is that it's hard to reach the right demographic in terms of presenting IULs for supplemental income because they work the best in the 20, 30, 40s, in terms of age range, early 50s. The later you get, the little more tough it is. Cost of insurance is higher, there's less time before retirement, so we look more at annuities. So how do you reach that demographic? Well, social media, online, that's a big factor, but nobody's really understood how to crack the egg there and get those people to respond to talk about their retirement plans. We have this baby boomer generation. They're sitting on tons of money in traditional retirement plans, and they're skeptical. They don't know what to do. They turn to the internet, but they also turn to television. So we've built this system and this infomercial and this commercial system, television videos, social media events. It's this whole package to reach on a broad scale all of those different mediums so that we can get this message in front of people that they need to examine their traditional retirement plans, that we have the ability to show you why an IUL might be better. And you hit the nail on the head, Steve, at the very beginning. What we've noticed in the life insurance industry for financial advisors and insurance agents is that IULs are either ignored because of their presumed complication. They're not easy products. They're not term insurance. Okay, so some agents have shied away in terms of wanting to represent them. They think, oh, this might be good, but I don't want to go in front of a client and talk about something that I'm not familiar with. So there was a problem. There's a lack of education out there for IUL. And the other problem is that the agent's too focused in a lot of times on just the illustration itself. So they'll run a variable arbitrage loan, they'll run it at a 8-point-something% rate of return, and they'll just go show pure max rate loans taken out, and they'll show those clients those numbers and not really understand why or how. Okay, and the client doesn't really understand why or how either, which means in 20 years from now, are they going to be prepared to call the company and engage in taking that loan, because no one's going to be there to do it for them, especially if the agent's out of the business, right? So these are major problems, and we said, okay, well, let's examine how to address the market. Let's give them the tools to be educated. Let's give them the presentation to help them educate their clients, and of course, with the support of Brokers Alliance, our ability to help you run the illustrations, do the underwriting, we can make selling IULs very easy.
Well, let's talk about you have the university now. You have the IUL University. Let's talk about that, because I think people say, well, if I was educated, I'd feel more comfortable. I am happy to talk about it, because I do want to get to the marketing aspect, but I think it's really good to understand what are we selling and how are we educating our producers.
Well, Brokers Alliance, we've developed IULUniversity.com, and what it is it's a website that's solely dedicated to Index Universal Life. So what you're going to find on IUL University is all the edutainment series that we film here at Brokers Alliance, and you've done some specifically on Index ULs, from the very basics all the way up.
Basics,
okay.
Right.
We've got shows that we filmed with Bobby Samuelson, Sheryl Moore. These are experts in Index Universal Life and indexing in general. So when you're trying to figure out how does the index work, why S&P over Russell or NASDAQ, and all these options, Sheryl Moore and Bobby Samuelson have done a great job of taking an objective view at that and really breaking those products apart. So that's all going to be on this website. Now we've got tons of resources, PDFs, downloads, charts that support the different mechanics of Index Universal Life, provided by some of our biggest insurance company partners that we've identified as the companies that do it the best. So this is all in one place, and of course, there's going to be a live engagement section where you can contact us directly or contact us through the internet and ask specific questions. So there's just going to be a culmination of all the information that we could put together on educating you about index ULs.
Really, I just want to encourage everyone, if you have, you'll be able to go to this one-stop shop site for your educational purposes on indexing. We have already ran these shows, and these shows were by far our hottest shows, most clicks, most downloads, most retread and forwarded emails to other agents, I'm assuming. And when you look at that and you see we've collected, I mean, Sheryl alone has 10 videos with us in our interviews on IUL.
Exactly.
10. So I want to encourage you. You say, boy, I really like to up my game. I'm a little trepidatious about showing this in front of the client. Hey, we've taken care of that.
Right. Well, so after you have the education, what do you need next? And that's exactly it. So we have filmed a very professionally done 28-minute infomercial. We're going to run that on national television. So Brokers Alliance has taken care of that in the back end of things. And those leads that we generate, those individuals that want to see an index UL comparison, will actually be given to the agents that are working with us on this program. There's also a 7-minute shorter version of this infomercial that's going to be more used for the internet, social media campaigns, and we have this whole social media blitz that we've put together to make it really turnkey for the agent to not just have a Facebook, but make it work for you. And I think that's what we've really done here. So we give you the education, and now we're going to give you these videos and also this presentation that's more than just a PowerPoint. And I think that's going to, from A to Z, help the agents make more sales.
Yeah, I really have to say this. It's not that I'm down on PowerPoints, but the technology, I think we're kind of past that.
Yep.
We're kind of past brain sharks.
Right.
I think we're moving into new technology. I can't believe it. Brokers Alliance, we're right up there with every other infomercial. Unbelievable. Listen, you can call us at 1-800-290-7226 or write me at thebiz@brokersalliance.com or hop out to our website, www.brokersalliance.com. When we come back, we'll talk more about this turnkey idea from Eric.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Companies in our business are always touting service, products, and underwriting, and we do that too. But here's the difference. Now enter the world of the elite producer with a value package that cuts us out of the pack, a BD that approves social media marketing of non-FINRA products and doesn't take an override. With the best competition desk in the industry, and for our loyal producers, a true group health plan. No one offers that. Brokers Alliance does. Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant. I'm with Eric Palmer. We're talking about Index Universal Life and our complete sales solution. It is to die for. And we talked about in the first half our education, because to have an IUL University, I really want to make sure our producers are comfortable with explaining this. But the next thing most people always say is, well, gee, how do I market this?
Right.
And usually people know us, and I hopefully this isn't tooting our own horn, but people say, Steve, you guys have the most videos of any IMO in the country. I think that's true.
Right.
I think we have the #1 social media when it comes to total tweets, blogs, articles, all over the net by any IMO. I think that's true.
Right.
Now we're upping our game to a whole new national campaign of media with social, beyond social media, beyond using the internet. Now we're heading back into television as well. Talk a little bit about this 30-minute presentation. Now, I have to say, I have some reservations about infomercials, but the stats on this stuff is so huge, it kind of aligned my fears.
Well, first and foremost, I want to make it clear that we didn't actually, this isn't an internal project here at Brokers Alliance. I mean, there were professional actors. Right.
Yeah, we're not that good.
There were professional actors that were hired. I am being interviewed in the presentation itself, so you will see me in there a little bit. But all in all, there's testimonials. There's very professionally cut commercials and call to action, and these are professional actors. So this was put together to be big, and we did a lot of research, and we started realizing that first and foremost, there's nobody talking about Index Universal Life and supplemental retirement income on TV yet. So we're cracking into that market. And when we did some beta tests and we did a lot of investigation on this, we found that there would be actually a high response, especially for some of the buzz terms out there, traditional retirement plans, 401ks, and the volatility in the stock market. So people are already responding to this in terms of news and media that's on television, so we're trying to put something together. Now, why is it 28 minutes long? Well, ultimately, we're flipping channels, we're going to come across it, and the entire presentation, or the entire commercial, if you watch it, it's very fast-paced. There's a lot of really good information in there. We want to catch you on your swing through, and hopefully the consumer out there will catch on to something. They might going to hear something. They're going to stick around for a few more minutes, and they're going to want to call. They're going to create some curiosity. But what ultimately that infomercial is also doing is it's legitimizing the information that we're talking about, because it's out there, it's national, it's gone through its testing, and we've obviously had to go through a lot of compliance to get it there. And when people go online, lots of compliance.
Lots of compliance.
When people go online and they start researching, they're going to find more information to support what they saw on TV, or vice versa. So in tandem with our social media and our onlines, this commercial, I think, is really going to get the brand that we've created, IFL, Income for Life. It's going to create that brand for us. It's going to give a lot of legitimacy to the message that we're trying to bring to consumers, which is you've got to look at alternatives, and everything has its risk, but when you look at everything side by side and you do the math, IULs make sense for a lot of people. So we're going to use that to get the message out. And for agents out there, a lot of times, you know, you stumble, maybe we over-explain, maybe we under-explain. I think the commercial gives them another tool, not just to have to see it on TV, but as an agent, as a member of this program, the sales solution, you can have this commercial and you can have people sit down and watch it. Your trusted clients, your client database, your friends and family, you can spread this out there, they can watch it, and it really just gives the aha moments, the great things about this, and it makes them want to sit down and look at an illustration, which is ultimately what you want to show them as an agent. So, you know, again, it's not just us sitting here at the biz and we're talking about things. This is a professionally done deal, and I think it helps the professionalism of the advisors out there when they're trying to talk about IULs.
Well, I think it's just a really remarkable thing, Eric. You're Mr. Hollywood now for Brokers Alliance. You're going to be on television. You know, when I think about everything that's happening out on the marketplace and people's concerns about their money, and people looking to television, they're flipping through the channels, they hit an infomercial, most of the time, if it's, you know, it's Ginsu knives, I'm usually passing. Okay, but when it talks anything about money, people kind of slow down and want to see it. And because the alternative that we're presenting, which in our industry is pretty straight up, we all kind of know all the perks of it, but the public doesn't know it. And what this commercial does is it lays it out in English. We're not talking about what indices you pick. We're not talking about doing foreign and domestic. There's none of that. It's very laid out in a very, what I would call, easy entry level for consumers to pick on, and it has what I would call to actions throughout the 28-minute commercial or presentation.
And let's talk about timing. So marketing and timing, those go hand in hand. Right now we're living in a volatile market. Everybody experienced 2008. A lot of us even experienced 2001. In my own traditional retirement plan history, I've had two major corruptions of the stock market, which I lost a lot of money personally. So I already have an emotional connection to the fact that the market can change my plans for me. So I think timing is perfect. Cash value life insurance, forget index UL for a second. Cash value life insurance is a game changer right now, because people are starting to realize that it's not just for the elite, it's just not for the upper 1% of the most wealthy in the US, which the majority of them have cash value life insurance. It's for everybody, and it's a great alternative, and it's something that you have to look at. So, you know, we're creating that mantra, we're educating the public and letting them know that, hey, there's a choice out there that you have. It's not just equities based. It's not just bonds or treasuries that are paying very, very little right now. It's hard, you know, that's hard to get through. You know, so they have choices that they can make, and cash value life insurance specifically, because of right now it's a hot product and it works real well. Indexed universal life is a great alternative to your supplemental retirement plan. So I think that we're hitting the timing perfectly. We're right at the cusp of this wave, and I think that this solution is doing something more than anybody else has done in our industry.
When I think about the baby boomers and all that we have went through, this is a huge alternative. And actually, when you bring up cash value life insurance, we're just returning to what we used to do all along 35, 40 years ago before we got into individual 401ks. Unbelievable. Well, listen, you can watch this show and all our shows right at www.brokersalliance.com. As soon as you come to our homepage, just click on the big red on-demand button. That's the Buzz on the Biz for today. Get in the zone, the Business Insurance Zone.
The Biz is brought to you by Brokers Alliance, a national leader in insurance products, support services, and educational workshops. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, We're the news you can use.